Hi, who's this?
It's Chad Dukes, brother.
Thanks. I never know. You know, I don't know. It just says it said Virginia, and so I'm like, is this a person named Virginia? Is this?
That's so funny. It's so funny because I was just listening to the segment where fucking Mikey D showed up at your house and you were gonna hit him with a baseball bat. So.
Oh my God! I forgot about that. Oh, are we on now?
Yeah, I mean, I can keep all this in. This is very entertaining. So if you don't mind,
let's go. Yeah, fuck it. This is fantastic. This is so, Mikey. I mean, no, if we're on now, I'm gonna go right now. So I'm about to get married. Yeah. Oh, wait a second. Wait. Is this the same? Mikey D showed up to my house twice unannounced, but one time I'm about to get married the next day on the radio, on Hard Rock. Ron Fez presents an East Side Dave wedding. What kind of psychotic, you know, and there's Mikey D barging in. What was like 12 hours before a goddamn heart. And only Ron and Fez, you could have a wedding in the Hard Rock Cafe. And I could not tell you. My dad said it was his favorite wedding of all time. Why? Because he got to eat chicken fingers during the wedding ceremony. I'm like, wait a second. That's why? Like, it had nothing to do with me.
It had nothing to do with you.
But can I tell a Fez story about that wedding you brought up?
I'd love to hear it.
So Fez did his Ric Flair as like a toast, and it was one of the, I mean, might have been the highlight of the entire wedding. And he brought the house down. My brother Patrick loved the hell out of it. He was like freaking out about how excited he was. And afterwards, I go, "Oh yeah, I know. He does a great Ric Flair impression." My brother goes, "Who's Ric Flair?" He just thought that was Fez. And I'm like, well, that kind of is Fez. Yeah. I mean, he's like, I love that Fez guy. The way he came out in the robe with, you know, saying that he's a kiss-stealing, baby-stealing. I'm like, you know, no, that's Ric Flair. Who's Ric Flair? I'm like, what the hell is the matter with you?
Yeah, that is fucking great. But also, I could see, if you didn't know who Ric Flair was, I could see you still just really enjoying Fez doing that character.
Isn't that incredible? Like, what a compliment that is, Chad. That, like, you know, my brother Patrick never watched wrestling his entire life. And he has, I'm just going to say, he has like some things, we'll just say, in common with Fez. So it was like really cool that like, here's this guy and he's appreciating this other guy and they don't even know each other. And my brother doesn't even know who the hell Ric Flair is, but thought it was like the greatest toast of all. My brother's like, that's the best toast of all time. So I got my brother saying it's the best toast of all time, even though he has no idea who the hell Ric Flair is. And then I got my dad happy because he can eat onion rings and chicken fingers and get a little burger during the nuptials, if you will.
And also leading up into that wedding, I remember anytime you had a miscue, Ron and Fez would threaten to take the wedding away. I mean, every single they threatened to fucking jerk the whole production if like you missed a spot or something that morning.
Or you spread too thin.
Yeah, exactly.
There was constant threats. But that's like the best thing about. So you know, it's you're constantly living under something. Something bad's going to happen, but at the same time, something good's going to happen too. I will say at the Ron and Fez show, you could never prepare. We tried. It's not like we didn't do show prep.
Right.
We did tons of show prep. But Jesus Christ, it would just go off into these insane places. And Fez and I's, you know, the way we worked, I mean, there were times where, you know, we'd get along on the air. But as, you know, to use wrestling terms, sometimes we'd work ourselves into a shoot.
Yeah.
It would be something as stupid as, you know, like, you know, I think the Giants are better than the Buccaneers or something stupid like that. Next thing you know, 6 months later, we're actually angry at each other.
Yeah.
Like not talking.
Dude, there's one of my favorite moments in all of radio history is Fez is going crazy because someone has stolen his identity, right? Like they're writing checks and cashing Fez's checks. And there's this big long gap. And then you just say, are you accusing me of stealing the money from you? Like, are you referring to me? And I'm like, and this is when I'm listening to Bennington over the past couple of days, and you called in, by the way, and it was hilarious when you were kind of piecing together that Ron was booking play dates for you and Fez to spend the night with each other. But I wondered, can you share like how much of the show? I'm not looking for any inside secrets, but it started with, hey, let's do this bit, and then it ended with actual feelings being hurt and actual issues between you guys.
Yeah, I mean, in that period, in that time period,
sure.
for sure, yeah. Well, I think no, someone had hacked in, someone had stolen his identity and hacked into his bank account and stolen a few $1,000s. And he thought it was me, or possibly my now ex-wife at the time.
Sure.
But he thought. But I was like, I don't know. I don't know how to hack into a secured Chase bank account or whatever the goddamn bank he is. How would I? I'm not. No, I don't know how to do those things. But yeah, that would sometimes, when those accusations would start, it was always for the show. And we would get a little bit irritated, especially because sometimes someone might say, did you really steal his money?
Right.
Like, no, I didn't steal his goddamn money. What are you talking about? This is insanity. But I can also tell you that, to me, that stuff was often more product of the fact that Fez was just going to go for it. Like, he would go 100% into a bit. And, I would too. And so if you're both, committed to, hey, you're going to be angry at each other on the radio, you're going to do a rivalry. Well, you're either going to do it well and be totally invested and just really kind of be a little bit ticked off with one another, or you're not going to, or it's going to come across a little bit fake and phony and lame, and you're kind of smiling, and it's like, and then everyone can tell, even on the radio, people can tell, oh, these people are faking. So I think that it was going to happen, that we're so invested in what we were doing for a specific time period that we were going to butt heads off the air. I mean, but we never really did butt heads off the air. Let me make that clear. It was so weird. We would be in a rivalry on the air. Then we would walk back from 36th floor at Sirius up to 37th floor where our office is. And then me, Pepper, and Fez would just be, hanging out, kind of preparing for the next day's show. And there really wasn't bad blood, but it was crazy. But, people have also reminded me of all the things that Fez and I did together. Like, for instance, when Ron would have maybe us barge into O&A, and take over. And Fez just totally took over. He got on a stripper pole, and he worked the hell out of that thing. I mean, holy shit. He put Elizabeth Berkley to shame. This guy was unbelievable. I mean, he should have been in Showgirls. And all those things were great. So this has been such a hard and weird development, honestly, because I've been saying for the past, I even said this to Ron. I said I kind of had it in my head that Fez was going to live to 90 or something, and do a fun old gay man podcast. I had it. I was ready to be his producer. I don't know. I had it in my mind of Fez just taking shots at modern day pop stars. We could really use him shitting on the Jenner clan and the Kardashians and whoever the hell, any kind of modern day pop star. That was right up Fez's wheelhouse. He would destroy them. It was always unbelievably hysterical. I could totally see him what's the deal with Kendall Jenner anyway? I mean, how come she doesn't have a tick job like the other ones, huh? Whatever. I could see Fez doing that. So this has been really rough. It's just been like I say, it's I honestly haven't felt this way since my dad passed away last April, and it's just you think of happy things and you laugh and you tell stories, and then next thing you know, you're walking around. The other day, I'm walking into 7-Eleven or something, and it just hits me. And I just, oh my God, what happened? And I was telling this last night on my show. I'm trying to grab a bag of ice. I'm like nearly in tears because of Fez's death. And I'm trying to grab a bag of ice at 7-Eleven, and I'm sad and pissed. And this little fucking runt drinking coffee at 7-Eleven as if it's goddamn, like the place to be, the place to hang out. Like, who hangs out at 7-Eleven? Anyway, he's just sitting there drinking coffee. And he has the nerve to tell me, like, your ice is going to melt before it gets back to your house. You're never going to get that ice back to your house before it melts. And because of Fez's death and because of how I was feeling, I seriously considered putting that huge bag of ice over my head and smashing this guy. like Andre the Giant,
Sure.
like grabbed the boulder in Princess Bride.
Yeah,
like
of course.
it was that scenario. This guy was a pipsqueak. He was like 5'1" with 30 fingernails. I would have destroyed him with this bag of ice, but it's kind of made me a little bit. I'm sort of. I don't know, Chad. I'm losing it a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not advocating murder, but if East Side Dave MacDonald went to jail for the rest of his life for murdering someone in 7-Eleven with a bag of ice, I mean that's a made-for-TV movie right there. I mean,
I think that I'd be okay with that. I think that's the way that my story will end. It's going to have to end in some sort of bizarre way, like, tripping upstairs with scissors and, slashing my own throat or something really stupid. Like, oh, Dave, you could have avoided that. Like, there was no reason for you to, there were signs that said, don't drive, hazardous. And he drove off a cliff and he pulled a left eye and all that kind of thing. So, I don't know, but... Yeah, it's just crazy. You go, you go whirlwind of emotion, kaleidoscope of emotions, I guess. You probably don't know a lot about my career, nor should you. I've done radio in DC now I did radio for 15 years. Oh, no, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, DC radio. You're a big time stuff. Listen, I don't like doing shows. I'm more of a shut-in weirdo these days.
Yeah.
I like to do my shows, my radio shows, my podcasts, and that's about it. Of course, if Bennington ever cooks. If they ever ask, I'm on, within a second. But outside of them, I don't like to do. But when I hear Chad Dukes, I go, baby, let's rock and roll, Daddy.
Look at this.
Let's
Look at this. Well,
let's rock and roll, Daddy, in the nation's capital, baby, with Chad Dukes. Daddy, let's get high to the mountaintop and low to the canyon with the Chad Dukes show right now on Washington, D.C., Daddy.
I was so happy the writer got a little play yesterday on Bennington where they're talking about I never realized that Fez was mad at you the whole time because he was the big Dusty Rhodes fan and he wanted to be the Midnight Rider, and then he was critiquing your ability to actually sound like Dusty Rhodes. I didn't know that was a component of that whole gimmick. It makes it that much more enjoyable.
I didn't even know that till you just told me.
Are you serious?
Oh,
they talked. Ron was talking about it yesterday.
Well, I'm sure. No, everything that Ron says is true, but I do know that Fez. He was the one who lent me his Dusty Rhodes triple DVD box set of Dusty Rhodes. It was like 9 hours of Dusty Rhodes, content, and I watched it all. I tried to do, the best job possible. I was more of a WWE guy, so I wasn't, and I grew up a little bit, like later than Fez, so I was more of the Pipers and the Macho Mans. I didn't know, 100% of Dusty. I knew about him. But I didn't know that Fez didn't like it.
No, he was angry. I guess he wanted to always be the Midnight Rider in a gimmick on the show, and that because it was you, I guess he always resented that, which is hilarious that you didn't know that, and I'm the fucking one telling you right now.
I did not know this. Yesterday I was busy, so I didn't get to listen to Bennington because I was out and about doing my errands. I had no idea that this is the case. That's hysterical.
Yeah, that is funny though.
But it says a lot about Fez that he was the one to give me those DVDs and say watch this, look for this, talk like this. So even if he wasn't the guy doing the bit, he absolutely was pivotal in me doing the Midnight Rider gimmick. So. He really did lend a huge helping hand, so that's crazy.
It is. It certainly is. I love Pepper. I love a lot of the iterations of Ron and Fez, but I think the best compliment I can give you is I had a chance to interview Artie Lang once before he kind of disappeared off the planet, and I got to tell him, I was like, look, man, I would listen to Stern for 30 years or whatever it was since high school, and I said the best the best time in that show's history was when Artie was on the show, in my opinion. It was always my favorite.
Yeah, I love Artie too. Yeah,
and
me too.
I can say that to you. I love Pepper and I like the show now, but when it was you on that show and then with O&A there and the interaction, that's not just the best time in the Ron and Fez history. That's the greatest time in radio history, in my opinion. And I think
it was awesome.
It was, and the fact that you guys were in the same building, and then to be on satellite, also you can get kicked in the chest by Master Poe and rub shit on E-Rock. I mean, it's all the shit that fucking happened. I mean, looking back,
there's too much. There is too much that happened that I have literally forgotten about, and I wish I hadn't. But there was so much. Especially, you got to remember, we had for the first, well, at least for me, but I guess for O&A and Ron, for O&A, maybe another year or so. But the XM studio on 57th Street was only Opie and Anthony, and then Ron and Fez, and one other show where they made the biggest mistake imaginable. They had one other show, and they designated one desk. Ron and Fez had a big studio, and me and Earl and Pepper and Pitsy, we would do the show. The O&A had a big studio, and they gave one desk to this little miserable guy, this little like balding guy with black hair, black mustache and beard. It was for the Frank Sinatra channel.
Oh my God. That is Frank's place.
We would terrorize this poor man.
Oh my God.
He's trying to... Jonathan Schwartz is like this legendary New York DJ who all he does is Sinatra. So he also did that for XM. But that guy wasn't here. The host of the show wasn't here. His little like minion, this little goblin was there. I think his name was like Buddy or something. And so Buddy says one day, just out of the blue, no one's doing anything. He goes, "Who took my stuff?" And we go, "What?" I had tape. I had a stapler. I had scissors. They're not here. Who took my stuff? And I go, no one took your stuff, buddy. Like there's cleaning people. There's all this kind of stuff. He goes, no one touched my stuff on my desk ever again. So what we did was we grab a whole bunch of boxes and we built literally an entire wall going from the floor to the ceiling with cardboard boxes so that Buddy couldn't even get to his desk.
That's fucking great.
He got so mad he pushed in Ron and Fez intern. And I was the one me and Pepper were the ones who got in trouble for it. Yeah, but dude, and I go, hold on. We put boxes on the ground, made a wall out of cardboard boxes. But the goddamn Sinatra guy had literally put his hands on our intern, and we're the ones sitting with HR. How does this fucking make any sense?
Dude, but think about the optics, though, Dave. Like in 2021, looking back at what you guys were able to do, you were excluding him, you were stereotyping. I mean, you'd be fucking fired for that shit now. And that's not even the actual horrific shit you guys were doing on the show at that time, which probably should have been a cause for dismissal. Dave, I got to ask you about fucking Fez in general with the back and forth. I feel like you're a completely unique comedic person. He's a completely unique comedic person. And then Ron is, probably the greatest living radio personality of all time. I don't know how to, when I try to explain to people the Ron and Fez show, I can't. And I say, you just got to fucking go back and start listening to the tapes and learning the players. What was that? When you're in that world, it wasn't just radio listeners, man. These aren't people that just tuned in to hear the traffic and weather. You had fucking zealots that were involved in that show, and they were a part of that show. Yeah. How much trouble did that cause you over the length of your duration on that program?
Oh, I don't think a lot. Ron and Fez started their show a lot. I think it was a lot more intelligent than the way other people were doing it, which is that Stern, and while I love O&A, I think they would admit that to a certain extent, they embraced a sort of, we're going to give our own audience members and our callers shit, and we're going to, we'll get into hardcore arguments with our callers and tell them that they suck and stuff like that. And the Ron and Fez approach was literally the exact opposite. It was more of, let's embrace the audience, and they're our buddy, hey buddies, they're our buddies. And Ron and Fez, before I worked for them, when they were on WNAW, every 2 weeks they would go to a bar in New York City called Bar 9, and I live in Jersey, but I would drive the hour. Well, my girlfriend would drive the hour because I'd get soft, Chad Dukes. I'd get ripped, roaring, hammered, Chatty. But my girlfriend at the time would drive because I swear to God, I just wanted to be around Ron Fez in that community. So actually, basically, I started as a zealot. I was there every single 2 weeks, every bar 9, boom, count on the Dave, man, I'm going to be there. And as a result, it made a real community. So I didn't have those problems. Like, we didn't have yeah, there were headaches. And you get like, with some of these guys, like crazed. People are pointing out like some of the folks that I haven't talked to. There was a guy named Spandy Man, and it was because he wore spandex like 100% of the time. He did that before he was on the Ron Fez show.
Jesus. He
was some like pal talk weirdo and called Spandy Man, and people would only see him in spandex. So he invited him. Well, those guys were all great, but sometimes you'd get like a 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, phone call from those guys like, can I borrow $15? I'm locked out of my house. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. $15 locked out your. Do you want me to give you a key for your house? Like, why? What's with the money? Are you calling the locksmith? $15 isn't going to cover it? That made no sense. So I would get calls. You would get calls and texts and stuff and emails from that stuff, how to solve problems. But then again, even that at the end of the day wasn't a problem because you would take that experience to Ron and Fez and be like, you got to fucking understand what happened. Craze called me at 2 o'clock in the morning because he locked out of his goddamn house. And then boom, we got something for that day. So, it was a really unique, awesome kind of world.
Yeah.
And I think, so yeah, it was awesome.
I think one of the reasons why you were talking about this, and Ron said something similar on his show, that it's difficult. I haven't accepted that Fez is gone 100%. And I think one of the reasons is, Dave, is the heart attacks and the health problems were so integrated into the fabric of the show. And one of the things I just thought was so funny is he was so comfortable with letting his problems be fodder. And even the latest, he had this massive heart attack where there's tubes going in his nose. And on this Instagram post Bennington puts up, it said he's oddly proud of these photos. And it's like, right. When I get sick or I'm in the hospital, like, it's the worst thing ever. I can't stand it. The fact that was always such a part of the show and what you guys would talk about, it makes it so you can't really accept what's going on right now.
No, I know. I said it to Ron on Monday on his show. I'm still in denial a little bit, but I will say after doing my show last night, because I did a tribute show to Fez, and that started to bring it home a little more. Doing your show right now, Chad, bringing it home a little bit more. And I think the way I work, oftentimes I'm just in shock for a while. And then and the emotions are up and down. But yeah, with Fez, I have to tell you, I know it's childlike thinking or naivety, but I really thought he was. I had it in my mind's eye that he was going to live for a long time. And yeah, the health problems, but don't forget the health problems weren't there at WNW. Right. Those pre-health problems. I mean, Fez was unstoppable, and I always felt like. With the Ron Fez show, when I look at other shows, if I ever have criticisms of the way the producers act or this or that, it's because too often the supporting cast, they want to be as cool as the guy. Right. And you got to go into the Ron and Fez universe knowing there's one Ronnie B. And then the rest of us, we better bring something. Right. And if it's making a fool of ourselves or telling a regretful story or writing a comedy sketch or performing a character, coming up with a game show, just go all in. But there's only one Ronnie B. So don't even, there's no even point in trying to act cool. So Fez would take that and just be like, okay, well, Ron's the cool one. And now Fez has all these eccentricities. I loved how Fez could remember he had, what's that thing called where you see a number, but you see it in a color. Like Fez. Oh, yeah. Fez has that. I forget what it's called. It's like an actual medical scientific thing where if you said Fez, what color is the number 7? Without a question, he'd say green or some shit like that. And Ron tested him many times over the years. whenever it would pop up in conversation, he would ask Fez, and I swear to God, Fez stayed consistent every single time. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, yellow's 3 is yellow, and 6 is green, Ronnie, and 7 is orange." And it like every single time, he would nail it. How is that possible?
I don't know. All right, I do have to ask you one question. I need a straight shoot right now.
All right, straight shoot. Here we go.
Was there ever a plan to get Fez?
What do you mean? A plan to get Fez?
Was there a plan to supplant Fez where East Side Dave would then
me?
Yeah, you. Was there ever a plan to discredit Fez between you and members of the listening audience to make him look ridiculous so you could supplant him as the co-host on Ron and Fez?
What are you, nuts? No. What are you, fucking lunatic? No. I'm a Ron and Fez fan. And I'm a Ron and Fez listener and supporter and guy who loves Ron and Fez. No, my thing was always going to be, hey, listen, Ron and Fez are Jagger and Richards, or, you know, they're the fucking, you know, they're Page and Plant, whatever. There are other guys in the band, so the other guys in the band better bring their goddamn fucking best game, because even though you have Keith Richards and Mick Jagger, you better be, even if you're fucking Bill Wyman, hey, Bill, play that goddamn bass, you little asshole. Or Charlie Watts. Charlie, you better pound those drums, you motherfucker. Like, you better do your job. That's the way I was. I was looking at myself as Charlie Watts. I'm going to pound the hell out of the drums as best I can. But no. No, what Ron and Fez are Ron and Fez. And that would have never, for me, that wouldn't have even made sense. I wouldn't have even thought that way, because honestly, I wouldn't have thought it would even be possible. And even if it was possible, I wouldn't have wanted that myself.
See,
it's like it's Ron and Fez. It's not, you know.
I can tell you've forgotten, Dave, because if you recall, I need you to search your memories. One time, Jay Moore called in and said that he didn't hear Fez on the show, and you and your ex-wife were very close with Jay Moore. And then there was the plan was exposed then that you guys were all in it together to completely discredit Fez and then move on from him, and then you would supplant him on the show. It was chronicled quite orderly, actually, on an episode of the Ron and Fez show.
Yes, but it was all bullshit that you bought. You got worked over, Chad. Chad, brother, you got worked over. That's all we did was work, motherfuckers. Work. I shoved the guy's face in pizza. I swear to you, I got death threats. I had to call the NYPD. This is a true story. I had to get a detective over it, because in the same day that I got a death threat, I walked out to my car, and my car was parked randomly in Brooklyn. So this person knew exactly what they were doing.
Oh, boy.
Slashed the tires, broke the put a thing on the thing, you're dead, Dave.
Oh, my God.
And I had to call Fez, and I worked everyone. We fucking planned that out, like Hogan and Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3, for Christ's sakes. I mean, we worked to. And I've told people, it's like, oh, don't take it personally. Don't be mad. If you enjoyed it, if you thought it was fascinating or captivating radio, then that's what we were going for. But we were working you. And so this whole Jay Moore situation, this is a work, bro. This is a work. Do you know how much shit I said that I didn't mean? I can't tell you the amount of shit I said. I just spew fucking shit. I don't even know where it comes from. I might be 1,000 years old. I might be some fucking ancient demon that just spews shit and doesn't even know where the hell he is.
Did you really give your babies to the neighbors?
That's a poll.
I did not give my babies to the neighbors.
I don't believe that. I believe that you gave your babies to the neighbors. I think you're lying right now.
What babies?
Your babies that you had, you didn't have a babysitter, and so you gave them to the neighbors to take care of and then came into work.
This is a total lie. You have believed everything I've said. This is fantastic. Just give me a bunch of bits that I totally worked over. I'm going to call this the best of East Side Dave working over Chad Dukes.
Did you ever let Sheepy babysit your children?
That's a possibility.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Wait a second. fucking, he's like 30 fucking years old at the time, and they were like 3 and 4. What's the problem with that? They weren't babies anymore.
I've met Sheepy. He should not be taking care of any children, and I think you would agree to that as well.
They're 30, and both kids have turned out to be fine. The daughter is a gifted. She's in the advanced classes, and my son likes playing Madden.
Well, who doesn't? I mean, get in line right there.
So
Dave, my producer is, I think he wants to build a life with you. What did you want to ask Dave while we have him?
Yeah, the physical comedy of this show is just unmatched by any other show that I've ever heard, whether it's, I don't know, Earl getting up and choking you when you're doing an impression. Or
that really happened.
Wait, that was real. You two fucking assholes have everything backwards. You two fucking nuts. You guys have literally everything backwards. So everything you just talked about with me and Fez was a goddamn work.
Sure.
But the one time that there was a shoot, Earl came over and choked my ass. And he's goddamn lucky I ain't no snitch. Because snitches get stitches is apparently what I saw on the internet.
I believe
But what I'm telling you is, Earl, that was in no way a work. That was 100%. He got so pissed off simply because I channel his dead grandmother through my body because I'm a psychic. And he didn't understand that she just comes out of my body sometimes and she speaks. He got mad at the things she was saying about Hitler and this and that.
Yeah.
And so then he comes and chokes me. That one was real.
It was just a little difficult to believe it. Earl, you're choking him. God, that was fucking great.
I swear to you, the first one, because then after that one, and everyone's mouth dropped, and everyone's like, "Oh shit, is this like a problem?" Like, I was like, "No, it's not a problem unless I go to HR, and I won't go to HR." But he did choke me. Then it became a bit, and then the second, third, and fourth chokings were a bit. So that's why. It's so bizarre. Like I said, the first in Ron and Fez, well, Ron said it yesterday. You work yourselves into a shoot, but then the shoot becomes a work, but then the work becomes a shoot again. And you have no idea. It's just like, sometimes I walk around, I'm like the guy in Memento. I'm like, wait a second, what's real, what's not real? I better have like Post-its stuck on my body to figure this out.
Yeah, there should have been some Academy Awards, man. I mean, the level of anger that would come out of some of these things that we're being told now were pre-planned. You guys are fucking talented, man. It's speaking of Memento, that's some fucking David Fincher type shit that was going on in that goddamn show. Fucking crazy. You want to get a shirt from him, East Side Dave? We go to his website. Actually, I'm looking at it right now. Who does your merchandise, man? You got 1,000 different things for sale up here.
My design artist is this guy named Jimbo. He is spectacular.
He's great. He
designs all this stuff. Can I tell you a quick funny story about Jimbo?
Please.
He does all my designs and everything, and he's fantastic. So a few years ago there was a contest that was make your own Doritos commercial, and if we choose it, it will play during the halftime of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so Jimbo sent me the video that he had submitted to Doritos. He had asked me to please promote this on your social media and put it out. You want to know what this video was about?
I'd love to know.
There's a image of John F. Kennedy going down the street there on the car in Dallas, Texas in 1963.
Oh my God!
And on the headshot, instead of blood and his brain matter flying out of his head, Cool Ranch Doritos.
Oh my God! Fucking psychopath.
Cool Ranch Doritos explode out of the president's head.
Oh Jesus Christ! I wish my producer's head would do that, because he wrote your website is Eastside Dave County on my fucking sheet here, and it's eastsidedavecountry.com. Go get a shirt right now. Dave, the tribute show you did, that's on Compound, right? Is that how people listen to that?
I also put it on YouTube just because Compound was cool with me doing that, I think, because I didn't ask anybody, but let me just say this. They have been cool with me posting special episodes before the day comes out. I actually post all East Side Dave shows on YouTube by Fridays, but today was a special day, so we just decided to release it early. You can still get it on compoundmedia.com, though, and I strongly suggest you go there, watch it on demand, and all the East Side Dave show clips. But yeah, if you want to see this one, this was we just actually uploaded it to YouTube today.
I guarantee our listeners will check it out. And of course, the socials, East Side Dave on Twitter and Instagram. Now, I've kept you too long. I apologize.
No worries.
We are mutual friends, Steve Jackson, the lead singer of the Pie Tasters.
Oh, yeah, no, very much so. I love, Steve actually DM'd me and was like, bro, if you're coming to Chad Dukes' show, we got to hang out.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm like, have you ever heard of a call-in, you motherfucking pie-tasting pothead?
It's a great way to describe him, actually. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met, I think.
He's the best.
Yeah.
Actually, I love him and that entire band.
Band is great.
Filled with friendly guys. I love the band. I've been lucky enough to see them many times at the Stone Pony stage in Asbury Park, a famous rock club. They had me on stage. I was a drunken mess, and they're still friends with me, which is shocking because it was one of those, hey, East Side Dave's on stage, but I was like way too drunk to be there. I was grabbing,
Dude.
like when you grab the bass player or you grab the fucking saxophone player and they're trying to play bass and saxophone.
Yeah.
They don't like that.
I swear to fucking God, we had the exact same experience. I was on stage with them at the State Theater, and I grabbed someone's dick, and I don't remember who it fucking was. And then I jumped off the goddamn stage, and there weren't enough people to support me crowd surfing. It was a goddamn... That seems to happen at those shows. But just a quick story. He told me... This had to be 10 years ago. You were still Ron Fez. It was a long time ago. And... he said, we're playing a show in Jersey. Do you want to come? Because East Side Dave's going to be there. And
that was the show.
And I remember saying, I can't hang out with that guy. He's too fucking crazy. Like, I'm intimidated to go meet that motherfucker. And then you flash forward. I think it was 5 or 6. I don't even remember. Oscar and I went up to do Eric's show in Sirius. And then you and Pepper were going to do your sports show. And so then I met you up there do you remember that at all when you guys came in and we were doing that show there?
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Of course, absolutely.
Okay, good.
That was a really fun time. Yeah, absolutely.
But you were a fucking. The point is yes, you're crazy, but you were very nice in person, and I don't know if that gets out there all that often about you because you've just done so much over the top shit in your career. You know,
people are surprised that I'm somewhat normal. It's like as Ron would talked about Fez. I think Fez has a lot of layers, a lot of different variables and things like that. And I think we all do. And I'm not. I actually like people. I'm a people person. It's like. But that's so funny. You didn't want to hang out.
I was intimidated, man. I was like, this motherfucker is on another level as far as performance than I am.
We could have. I know, but we would have. We would have been on stage together. That would have been fantastic.
That would have been a
that clip is somewhere. That clip is somewhere. I'll send that clip to you.
Please do.
On Twitter. I have an idea of where it is. I made a fake Budweiser commercial. Where I took a 1984 Budweiser song from Leon Redbone and I put the pie taster thing there. I am definitely going to send that to you when this phone call is over.
I can't wait to see that.
I'll DM it to you on Twitter.
My producer, we had Sammy on, we had E-Rock on. Give me if there's one segment, a Fezzy segment that stands out for you. My producer's kind of assembling a list. Is there one you could point to that you'd say, check this out? This is something I really like about that guy.
About Fez, well, obviously every single Ric Flair thing and every single Fezatorial. Now, and I think sometimes the people forget about the Fezatorials because of the Ric Flairs are so awesome, and they are. But I love the Fezatorials too. I'm a big fan of those. They always made me laugh a lot. As far as Fez, there was. Why am I actually telling you this? Fez and I got really drunk on a St. Patrick's Day episode in 2009 or 10.
I love where you're going with this.
It was way hammered. And, there's this guy who is actually my producer of the East Side Dave show, Big A, Andrew Gold. And Big A, I used to write little notes for him to do jokes at Fez's expense. Usually they were the size of Fez's I don't know why, but Big A, I used to want Big A to comment on Fez's nipple size and call him the size of saucers or whatever. But with Freddie, he was this kindly, tiny, pint-sized little intern from Pennsylvania.
Fast Freddie.
And Fez and I got so hammered, so I just decided it would be a good idea to do this big A gimmick with. Yeah, I started writing notes for Freddie, and poor Freddie. You couldn't have had a more innocent, kinder, sweet young man who had no idea what was going on. But all he knew was he was reading the notes that I was giving him, and Fez was legitimately about to threaten. He was legitimately threatening to fucking punch this kid.
Yeah.
It was amazing, though. It was like that kind of radio was incredible. Now, that's on the dark, edgy side, you know? On the happy side, I think you should do the fastest wedding ever.
Oh, yeah.
Because in the fastest wedding ever, we did we did the bachelor party, the bachelorette party, the wedding itself, the wedding reception. We did all of that for this couple that wanted to be married on the show. And we did all that stuff in an hour. And Fez was hysterical. And he came out dressed like a lady for the bachelor party. And he gave the guy a lap dance. And oh, my God, he brought the house down every single time. It was so much fun. So the light side, maybe the fastest wedding. And dark side, maybe that St. Patrick's Drunken Show with Fast Freddy.
Just the fucking best. Because, like, you were at one point, you stopped writing notes and you were just telling him what to say to Fez. And then Fez wasn't reacting. Do you remember that?
Tell him you hate his shirt.
No, because I was blacked out drunk, too.
It was so fucking fun. I think if Ron said no more drunk shows after that one, that was the one that ended all of it. It was fucking spectacular.
You know what? I don't recall being part of a drunk show after that. So there is a good possibility that ended it, at least for me.
Compound Media, Tuesdays, 7:30. Go to eastsidedavecountry.com. Right. And what's your YouTube channel for people to check out that Fez show?
East Side Dave TV.
East Side Dave TV. Check that out as well. Great to have you on the show, brother. I really do.
Thank you, bro.
You sent me an incredibly nice message when I got canceled. And, of course, I was off Twitter for a while, so I didn't see it. That was very nice of you, as I'm a huge fan of yours, so I thank you for that as well.
Oh, no worries, man. You're awesome.
You're awesome as well. All right, let's get him back on the show in the very near future. The great East Side Dave MacDonald,
Chad,
everybody.
Man.
Thank you,
Thanks,
brother.
guys.
Thank
Talk
you,
to you guys later.
It's the Chad
Bye,
Duke
guys.
Show.